Hi everyone, this is the moment I've been waiting for. This is the Artsnacks Plus box for the month of August. And without further ado, let's see what we have. So we'll start with the paper for this month, which is not paper, and it's a canvas. It's Frederick's Pro Series, which is kind of awesome because I've always wanted to try those, because the texture is not as rough as regular canvases. And actually it's hard. It's like a panel. Is it a panel? Yeah, it's a paint board. Even better. From Mixed Media. And let's see. Made with 100% nature core, a blend of vegetable-based and recycled components. Now I wonder how archival that is. Archival, 100% cotton Frederick's Artist Canvas painting surface. Accepts watercolor, acrylic, oil, tempera, gouache, and other, I never know how to pronounce this one, aqueous-based media. That's cool, you can use anything on it. Oh, my first thought is casein, because I've been using that lately. But, ooh, let's see what comes with this. I love this. Let's take the little pouch out. We have a Dum Dum lollipop. Lots of stuff in here. Ooh, Sennelier. Ooh, nice. Soft body. I'm guessing it's acrylic. There's two of them. Then, okay, acrylic, okay, oh, duh! Yes, there's a yellow and a green acrylic paint pouch, and all sorts of tips. There's some flat ones, big round ones, smaller ones, very fine ones. Ooh, that sounds like a lot of fun. And then I have a feeling that there's going to be a brush in there also. Oh, we'll get a pastel sticker. And we have also a Kingart Radiant brush. It's an oval wash, and it's a half an inch, I don't know, yeah, maybe on this side, yeah. Okay. And Winsor & Newton, I tried those, a fine liner, and it's a 08, so it's a pretty thick one. I like that the tip is long like this because it really allows you to see what you're doing really nicely. And these are water resistant, non-fading pigment ink. All right. So for those of you out there who have the Artsnacks box, you will get the two paint, the brush, and the fine liner. And what comes in the Artsnacks Plus box is the artboard, the paint board, as well as the extra tips. Now that's really nice. I think the Artsnacks Plus boxes are getting better and better. It's nice to finally have something new, something that was not in the previous box, and something that you can actually use with these guys. You know, like it could be, if this was not in there, it could be maybe an extra color, for instance. That would be nice as well. But this is a nice addition. So I'm very happy with this box. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with it, but stick around and I'll try these and see what I can paint. The first thing I did was to remove the glue from the bristles on my brush. So I poured some water in a cup and I swirled the brush around in the water to just soften the bristles and try to remove as much of the glue as possible. It's never recommended to just use your fingers to break the bristles loose because it might damage them. So once that was done, I tried out the fine liner and it's really nice. I like it. I'm actually considering buying a smaller one, maybe a 03 or 01, I'm not sure, but it was really nice. I liked it. Then onto the paint. So I unscrewed the tips, tried to break off the little bits left over. It was kind of tricky, but anyway, I tried to put just a little bit of paint on my palettes because I didn't want to waste any. And what I did, you know, there's something you can do with most of your tubes of paint. If there's a little bit of paint sticking out of it, you can just tap your tube a little bit on your table and the paint will go back down inside. It's the same with those pouches. It's actually pretty easy. So shortly after I wrote on the paper with the fine liner, I used the brush with some water to see if it was really water resistant, and it is. I think depending on the paper you use, you're going to have to let it dry longer, you know, depending on the quality of the paper. So this one worked pretty well. It is a watercolor paper, but it's not cotton, so I don't know if it makes any difference or not. Then I tried both colors and I must say I was impressed by the vibrancy of those pigments. First I tried with almost no water and got some really nice and bright colors, and then I added water to see how much I can dilute it and what it looks like, and then I just mixed the colors together to see what kind of gradient I could get. When that was done, I decided to try the tips, and it was really fun. The package has 8 different tips, and it ranges from like rectangular tips, different sizes of it, to round tips. Again, I think there's like 3 sizes of that. And then there's a double tip and a triple tip. Now, what I found out is that it's kind of tricky to clean, and because there's still a lot of paint that stays in there. It's easy to use, just screw it on, and then it's pretty easy to squeeze the paint out. It comes out very easily. You do need a pretty steady hand or just a lot of practice to get used to having a steady flow of paint and just like applying the paint on the paper nicely. For this I had a hard time just because I don't have a very steady hand, but I'm sure with practice it just becomes easier and easier. And then at some point I tried to use a tip that I had used for the green without cleaning it, and I used it for the yellow because I was hoping to start getting a gradient. But there was so much green paint left still in there that it just took a long time, and eventually I just gave up and I just went to clean it in the sink. And it does take a little while to clean, I must say. So I randomly just drew lines wherever I felt like it, and it took maybe a couple hours to dry depending on the thickness of your lines. Also, if you don't want to waste the paint, you can always, if it hasn't been mixed, or if you don't mind if it's mixed, you can just like dip your brush inside the tips just to use the paint that's in there, because it's a shame to just waste it. Off camera, I just doodled a bit more with my fine liner and just made a few more lines on the paint. The paint finish is matte, which is really nice, and you can draw on it with the fine liner really nicely. So make sure you clean those tips as soon as you can, because they're acrylic, they're gonna dry fast. It was already pretty tough to clean as they were still wet. But maybe I'm thinking that if you let them dry, maybe you can just peel it off, but I'm not sure. Now, if you've ever tried those before, let me know if it's an easier way to clean them. I'd like to know that. So when I was testing the paint, I really liked the colors, and it gave me the idea of painting some lemons and limes. So I went on Pixabay and found this really cool picture of just lemons, but there was some green in the leaves, so that's what I used. I started with very watered down acrylic, and I built up layers with less and less water on top, because I was not quite sure what I was doing and I wanted to take my time. However, I was just going fast enough that I was making mistakes. The brush is pretty big and I kept on painting over the line. Not very good at coloring, am I? Also, about the canvas, I forgot to mention that because I was not sure about the paint and the tips, because it was really about exploring those pouches and those tips, I didn't want to use a really nice canvas like that just for experiment. I just want to save it and use it for a nice painting. So pretty soon I will use it and let you know what I think of it with an actual painting, a finished project. Anyway, back to this painting. Once I was done with my first few layers, I built up my values just by using the paint with less and less water, and then I also mixed it together. So I had some areas of the lemons with a little bit of green that showed a bit of dark. When that was dry, I just had to play and add stuff to it with the tips. I kind of liked it as it was, but you know, I had to be looser and use those tips. So I just outlined the leaves and the lemons and added some dots to the lemons as well, just to give them texture. And it's kind of cool. I really like it. And those leaves don't seem to have veins according to the photo that I used, but I just decided to add some anyway, just for the heck of it, just to play. When it was done, I couldn't see the fine liner much anymore, so I decided to outline it in a thick way so that it would just give it a more graphic style. And so it feels like the painting went from an actual more painterly painting to a more graphic one, which in the end is fine. I really had a lot of fun using those, and I'm gonna have to practice using them more and get my hand to be a bit more steady with them. Maybe working on a larger surface would help also, because it's not very easy to work on a smaller one with first a big brush and then those tips that you're not used to have to control. So that was a great challenge. I loved it. I didn't use the prompt from the Artsnacks PLUS box because I didn't feel like it. Let me know what colors you had in your box, and did you get the Plus box or the regular box? I think either box was great. And again, I'm really happy that the little extras in the Artsnacks PLUS box was actually related to what was in the box and not leftovers from previous boxes. So good job, Artsnacks. If you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you want to see more, and it also helps me get more views and grow this channel. Thank you all for stopping by. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.